Okay.
Well, he's going to redshirt his first year, so we can let him develop physically. He's got the frame, but not the weight yet. He's only about 255 pounds right now. But just looking at his skill set in college and the things that in high school, and the things he was able to do athletically and the bend that he has at his height, we think he's going to be able to develop into a really good player. But we need to give him some time.
The fact that you can redshirt him, how much does that speak to where UCLA has grown as a program?
Well, we're getting there. We still have depth concerns along the offensive line, but with a guy like Alex, it's his size, his weight that's going to dictate that he redshirt. But he's a tremendous athlete.
What's he weigh now?
254, 255.
What do you want him at?
What's Connor weigh?
You can just clone Connor a whole bunch of times.
We're trying. Colton Miller's a lot like Connor. Colton's actually a little bit taller than Connor and weighs about 10 pounds more than Connor. Those guys are hard to find, though. Those 6'9", 320-pounders that can bend like those guys can. They don't grow those guys on trees, so we're trying.
What are you asking out of Josh?
Just take the next step, in terms of being consistent, in terms of being a solid decision maker with the football in his hand. We're going to ask him to do some more things at the line of scrimmage with regards to, we just talked about changing plays, diagnosing what the defense is playing and getting us into, what could be a more successful play. And then I'm looking for him to be a guy that in the moments where we need a play to be made, that he steps up and makes that play. That's what great ones do. And he's certainly got the potential. He just needs to go out and do it. And I'm confident that he will.
When I don't know how much you meet with him individually or not, but what are those sort of meetings like? Are you guys throwing things around? Or?
They're always different. I have a pretty long history with Josh. We have a great relationship, and I'm very close to his family. We're neighbors. So sometimes they're, rather casual, and sometimes they're rather intense. It kind of depends on the circumstance. When he posts something on Twitter at the Trump Golf Course, and they're rather serious.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but they're always different. I would say that if there's a common theme throughout all of our discussions, it's one of affection and respect and trust, and he knows that I have his best interest in mind, and I believe that he trusts me.
Did he spend any more time in the house?
Well, I don't know if you guys met my daughter Lily and her friend Claudette, but Lily and Josh are as thick as thieves, so they're together a lot. And he's been over. Been over a few times, right? Yeah, he comes over, hangs out. I haven't been there as much when he's been there. I try to stay away from him. We were supposed to be at the same house on 4th of July, and when I found out he was there, I stayed away. So I didn't want to cramp his style. But I just make sure Lilia takes care of him. She watches over him.
I know you addressed it earlier, but the whole Trump thing, why is that such a big deal for you guys?
I don't know if it's a big deal for us guys, other than I think that our student athletes have a responsibility to represent their team, their teammates, their families, their universities, UCLA, in a classy and dignified manner. I think when you use a vulgar term like that, it's not doing that. Yeah, but I also think that, as I said in there, UCLA has a long history of social activism. Bill Walton and who else interviewed up Mr. Barr.
But low key compared to Walton. Don't forget I was there.
No, I know, but I think that you want your young people to be able to express their individuality, but do it responsibly. And you're always trying to teach them lessons. And for Josh, he likes to be, and when you talk about the thing with Under Armour, he likes to be an advocate for those on our team that maybe are less fortunate than him. And he has to measure that against what the public perception of him is, how it affects our university, and how it affects his future. He had a great discussion with Les Snead, the general manager of the Rams, after that. Les is a good friend of mine, and Les told him, Josh, we look at all that. And if, we're going to draft you to be the face of our franchise, we're going to want to know before we give you $40 million that you're going to do it in the right way. And so all those are indicators of what the future may hold. So he's just got to make sure that he's making good decisions. And it's not always easy for these kids. I have 4 kids. Their attention span sometimes is that of a gnat. And it's like that, it's always this, and sometimes you need to teach them to take a breath and think about it before you talk.
Did Snead tell them most owners are Republicans?
I told Josh, I said about 70%, maybe 80% of the owners are Republicans, and you just diss their candidate. So don't think they're not going to remember that.
Yeah, he's got to be all pro before he starts doing that.
Yeah, and he understands. He just, he's a young man that is growing up, and it's not to say this too is, that they're going to make mistakes, and that's part of growing up. We all did. The thing is you try to help them learn how to not make the fatal error, the one that they can never recover from, saying something or doing something that offends such a large majority of the population or is illegal, that they can never recover from that.
Kareem was not an activist at UCLA.
He wasn't? No, I was told that he did some stuff.
It was pretty low-key as far as
really?
I recall. Walton's the one who marched and stuff.
Well, what Josh said is as low-key as it gets. I mean, it's not like, he offended anybody. He did it as a joke, so... But still, there's an impact there. He has to realize that he's become a public figure of some sorts.
Did you see the response where somebody brought up the question as how does a college football player afford to play at Trump?
I didn't. I
saw that one and laughed.
Yeah, they need to do some background checks on his family.
I have.
Yeah.
Coach, what's the status with Tavita Halalilo?
He's not going to be ready for camp. He's just not. He had to have surgery in the spring.
Is there a chance he could play this season?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
What went into the change in the uniforms? Everyone wants to know about that.
Tracy, I try to stay in tune with what people want. I mean, I do. I think it's important that we represent, the alums in our university and those that care about our program the way they want to be represented. And one of the issues has always been the color of the jersey and the shoulder stripe and the shine on the pants. And so, we finally found a way to address those issues, and we did. And I think that the uniforms look great. The shoulder stripe is about as good as you can get it with, with technology today. The shine on the pants a little better. The blue has been softened. Our players love the look. I love the look. I think it's traditional. We put the TV numbers back on the shoulders, and I love the uniform because I've always been a traditionalist, and to me it's as traditional as we can get in this day and age with the uniform.
How many times did you hear the saying shoulder stripes over the last?
I hope I never hear it again. Other than I like that finally. Yeah.
Will you have an alternate again this year?
We're going to have an alternate. It's going to be a navy blue, but it's really going to be the same structure. That I think the number font might be a little bit different. We'll wear blue pants, but it'll still have a traditional look to it. Yeah. Go ahead.
When you look at UCLA, what jumps out at you when you watch them?
Well, we have to watch ourselves to watch A&M's offense now that Noel's down there. But defensively, they're big and they're physical, like most SEC teams. They grow big men down there, and they play a physical brand of football, and they're very athletic. It'll be a heck of a challenge, and I think it's one that we're really looking forward to. It'll test us.
A lot of people mention Miles Garrett as that number one overall pick. What have you seen from him?
I haven't watched him enough specifically to be able to answer that. We've just done general scheme evaluations. We haven't really gone into the particulars of each player at this point in time.
Do you feel yourself kind of like a chess master on this nose on the other side that you gotta
probably a little bit, but we just have to do the best job we can of preparing our players, and they'll go out and they'll play as hard as they can, and hopefully we can make enough plays to win. That was a great coach speak answer right there. Well, you were probably, I know, did I check them all? That was good.
Mid-season form
That was a
already.
great one right there. Sorry about that. It's the best I could do.
Is he fully moved on from that elbow injury that's on his head?
Who's that? Noel? Seems to have. I was in contact with him 2 weeks ago, and he seems pretty healthy. Yeah, seems like he's doing well. I hope he is.
How often do you laugh at yourself at one of your own answers?
Quite often. Yeah, quite often. You know, I try to give guys the best answer I can give without getting myself in trouble, which has been a tendency I've had over the years. So.
Never noticed.
Yeah.
Going back to Josh on social media, for you as someone who has history in the NFL, if you saw a potential draft pick with that kind of history on social media, what would you think if someone who could draft this guy?
With Josh, nothing yet, because this is benign. He's posted 3 things. You know, 3 things, and if you're going to call them controversial on the scale of what's controversial and what's not, they're on the very low end of the scale. So, but they are red flags, and it's great that, you know, we're able to address it with him now, so that it doesn't become something that hampers his ability to go earn a living at the next level. But he hasn't offended. Well, I'm sure he offended Donald Trump, but he really hasn't offended anybody, and he won't. I really truly believe that he's learned his lessons and that he understands his responsibility. I think he understands the consequences of everything that he says and he does. We'll see going forward. I'm sure at some point in time there'll be another hiccup with one of our players, but we'll do the best we can to make sure there's none.
Is that a concern that you did run into, though, as during your NFL career, someone posted something on social media specifically?
You know what? I haven't been in the NFL since 2010, and things have accelerated so fast in the world since 2010. I don't remember us really. I think Facebook, maybe we used Facebook, but I don't know that many of the players did. So it really wasn't an issue. Now in recruiting, we're very conscious of it. You know, we want to see how these kids are living and what they're saying, and what their thought process is, and the decisions they're making. So, you know, for me, it's always about trying to figure out. You know, Instagram was great because I could always see where my players are. Now none of them are on Instagram. Now they're on Snapchat. So Lily's trying to teach me how to use Snapchat. You know, it's just trying to keep up with them. I don't know how.
How many young students do you have on staff to monitor that stuff for you?
I kind of do. You know, I like to see it. You know, and the reason I do it is I tell the players this, and they understand it and they believe it. Is I'm not looking over them, trying to find out if they're doing something wrong. I'm trying to look out for them, so that if they do post something or they do say something, that I can get to them before it becomes too big an issue and say, hey, whoa, you know, we need to delete that, or we need to rethink that, or you need to have an answer for why you said that. And just try to protect them in that way, knowing that they're probably going to make a mistake.
Do you need your daughter to teach you how to do new stuff?
No, the Snapchat I do. I'm not good at the Snapchat, and I don't know what's coming next. So they probably are 3 steps ahead of me. That's what her and Jay are probably down there doing right now. So.
You've got a
You have to put her on staff.
Yeah, no.
You've got a facility coming about a year from now.
May.
How much has that affected recruiting?
It's been a positive for us, you know, because there's a structure in place, and there's a building, there's a frame, and so it's not just a concept, it's a reality. And so when recruits come on campus, they can see it, and we can show them the renderings, but they can also see the structure. So it's impactful.
Practice field going to be 100 yards?
No, 280-yard fields, which is enough. When you practice, you rarely use 100 yards. We've got more than enough room, and we've got a beautiful campus with an amazing facility. We've got a grass field that's the same grass as what we play on at the Rose Bowl. We've got a turf field that matches most of the teams in the Pac-12. So it'll be hard to beat our facility once it's completed.
Kind of cool. No, you're supposed to get. Yeah, I get that. How does that affect what's their plans in the offensive line? Does that change your mind on the whole transfer process at all?
Well, I was disappointed. You know, this is a young man that was admitted to Stanford and Michigan, so he's obviously a tremendous student. He graduated from Texas in 3 years with a 3.4, but we couldn't, you know, find a way to get him into UCLA, and that was disappointing because, you know, we were depending on him, and we recruited him hard, and he was part of our recruiting class. So it changes the dynamics of our offensive line dramatically. You know, this is a veteran player that we were counting on to come in and help us, but you know, that's the way it goes, and especially in the public school system here in California, you have to be prepared for those things. And so we'll just adjust, and someone will step up and play well for us.
Does that change your view on the whole veteran process at all?
In what respects?
Well, I mean, last year we weren't really looking for any higher guns when it came
Right.
to quarterback.
Yeah.
Does that sour your view on graduate transfers?
No. I mean, we're still not looking to populate our team with graduate transfers. I mean, we still like to, recruit and kind of groom our own. But Jake was special. He was unique. He fit our profile. He was the right kind of kid. Great young man, tremendous student, leader, good player, great citizen. So it's disappointing that he wasn't accepted into our school and into our program. But it's something we have to deal with. When you're dealing with a school like UCLA where the academic standards are so high, you take a chance when you try to get a graduate transfer.
How happy are you with the right now?
I don't think I'll ever be completely satisfied. It's a work in progress. It always will be. We've had some guys leave early that hurt our depth, or what we thought would be our depth. But we've got some young guys that hopefully can come in and step up and do well. Hopefully, ideally you wouldn't want to have to test the depth too much. Your starters could stay healthy and you could work with those guys, because I feel good about our starters.
Connor called Colton his mini-me.
Mini-me?
He's bigger than him.
Colton's bigger than you.
Jesus.
Ask him what he weighs now.
What do you weigh now?
But, if Colton can grow into someone like Connor, what kind of thing would that happen?
You know what? I think that he is growing into that. I really do. As the year went on last year, he became a really good football player. And this off season, I think this. I hope I'm accurate, and if I'm not, Sal will let me know. But I think that Colton squatted 600 pounds at 6'9", which is amazing because he can really bend. But hey, Connor, did Colton squat 600? 5 what? 599? Okay.
Getting back on that one.
But a lot. But he's a really good athlete. And we've got 2 really good tackles. And what you're always looking for at tackles length. And we've got length. And hopefully they can protect the edges. Then we've got to be able to hold up inside. And what you'll see with us is when a guy needs help on the offensive line, is we'll give him help with backs or tight ends. That's part of moving more to a little bit more traditional things on offense, is the ability to chip or leave it back in or go 7-man slide, keep a tight end attached, and help it, make the edges wider. So hopefully we can help if we need to help.
You showed that you guys have 3 very capable running backs.
I believe we do.
Spring. Is it important to find like a workhorse, like a guy, or does it not matter in this offense?
That's a good question. I don't know if I have an answer for you other than to say that you'd hope in each game that one of them would kind of emerge in that game, and maybe it's the same guy in every game, and we'll see. But I know this, I feel comfortable with all 3 of those guys playing at any time in the game, and it's because they all got experience. Well, Bolu and Sosa got experience this last year as freshmen. Nate has 2 years of experience, and they've all shown that they're capable of playing and being successful at this level.
What's your confidence level in turnover?
It's a great unknown, snapper, kicker, punter, all freshmen. All freshmen,
Yeah.
so, and I'm sure the holder will be a freshman too, because the holder will probably be the punter. So it's a great unknown. But I know that in watching them in college and then watching JJ in the spring, there's talent there. There's talent. And hopefully we can manage games late to the extent that we don't put them in situations where they have to make, a long kick to win it, or punt out of the back of our end zone, things like that. And but I think that JJ's talented. I think Johnny's talented, and I think they're all really, really good players.
Everyone seems really excited to watch Eddie get back on the field. It's been a long time, but from what you've been able to see from him so far during spring and since then, what do you think he's going to do this year?
Well, he didn't go through spring practice. We held him out. He was over with Coach Alosi, and through fall we'll be very careful with him. We'll work him in gradually, get him ready for A&M, but we have to be we have to be cognizant that he is coming off a severe knee injury. But Eddie plays with a real joy and a real passion that's infectious. And guys love playing with him. He's Kung Fu Panda. He's goofy and he's fun and he's good. I'm just excited to kind of see his energy out there again and his playmaking ability. And we missed him. We really missed him. We missed his personality. We missed his play.
Has the NCAA given him
Who's that?
Eddie?
I don't know.
That they were going to give it to him.
Are they good? I don't know if it'll even matter, quite frankly. I think if he has a good year this year that, we'll be saying goodbye to him. If he has a good year this year, I would assume that he'd go the way of Kenny Clark and be a first-round draft pick. So it's kind of a catch-22. You want him to have a great year, but you don't want to lose him. So, well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Have a great weekend.